Daniel, and I'm going electric for the average person. Thanks for watching. I am coming to you today from just north of Duluth, Minnesota. Was driving up along the North Shore, and now I'm on Highway 61, I believe it is, heading back into Duluth. Quick heads up, I always wear my sunglasses in my videos. I do have eyes, and they work, but I prefer to wear my glasses so I'm not squinting while I'm driving. Safety precaution, I guess, also just a little more comfortable. We're going to have 4 topics today that I'll discuss on my drive back into town. And those 4 topics are, number 1, how to have a heart attack by reading the instant efficiency tab in your Tesla. Number 2, going to talk about some people that I've talked to driving across the United States about what their experience is supercharging during winter. And then number 3, I'm going to talk about a gentleman that I ran into in Dickinson, North Dakota. And he and I chatted about his experience with traction control in his Tesla. And then lastly, I'm going to put some screenshots up so you can see what kind of efficiency I'm getting today. Just as a heads up, the temperature today is 30 degrees here in Minnesota. When I was in Montana and North Dakota, the temperature ranged from 9 degrees up to about 26. Oddly, though, I have to say, the temperature feels colder here in Minnesota than it did in those 2 other states. Maybe it has to do because I'm right along Lake Superior and it's a little more humid, I guess, around here, more moisture in the air. Anyways, I don't know how you all do it up here. I am freezing to death, and it's only 30 degrees. I'm gonna pull my car off of autopilot, coming into a little town here. So let's start with number 1. How to give yourself a heart attack by looking at the instant efficiency tab in your Tesla. This morning when I got up, got in my Tesla, and I decided to take it right into downtown Duluth. There's a Tesla supercharger in the Holiday Inn parking lot there. I just wanted to get some juice in it because I came in pretty empty yesterday. And temperature was 30 degrees. I did not set the departure expectation time in the Tesla, so I didn't tell the car when to start warming up. I just got in and drove away. As soon as I did, the car started humming, and I could tell that the battery was now starting to like get up and running. Regenerative braking shuts off when the car is cold, so you just kind of coast everywhere you go. You gotta keep your foot on the brake in those cases. And I decided to look at the instant efficiency tab just for fun. When I clicked on that tab, the first time I clicked on it, it said I had 17-mile range left in the battery at 20%. I mean, that's less than a mile percentage point. That's insane. And then the second time I clicked on it, it was 13 miles. So I was like, holy moly, like, thank goodness that the supercharger was like 2 miles away. Now, I imagine as the battery warmed up, I would have gotten better readings. But at that moment, I tell you, when you get into town somewhere and it's cold, I actually should have supercharged the night before rather than waiting till the next morning, because I guess you never know. I mean, you know, keep that in mind. Supercharge as soon as you can. It's always better. So then I supercharge. It took me quite a while for the battery to fill up. I think I took it up to like 70% and then got on the road and then took my drive up north. Duluth, I will say, is a town that's kind of like built on a hill. And even though I had just supercharged and I kind of figured the battery would have been warmed up, I got out of the parking garage and started going up these hills to get up on the highway and head north out of town to drive up along the Lake Superior. I looked at that instant tab again, and I tell you, I almost had a heart attack. Like, the range numbers that I was getting were so low, and I was going to go on a 40-mile drive north of town, pick up some lunch, and then head back. And I was like, man, this car, I hope I can make it. Like, I cannot possibly have a battery capacity of 40 or 60 miles right after I just charged. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, Daniel, this is really no different than if you strap some device on your body and say you're cold weather jogging up a mountain and you had a device that could tell you, like, you can jog 1,000 feet and then you'll die. Like, that is not the kind of device that you would want to have. Now, the good news with that sort of device is once you jogged up to the top of the mountain, or maybe say you got it to 900 feet and then you crested and went down the other side, this same device would then tell you, oh, by the way, you can jog another 1,000 miles today. So just beware that when you get your Tesla, the instant efficiency tab reading is super alluring. It's fun, it's interesting, but it is not the sort of thing you should look at if you have a weak heart. And it is certainly not the sort of thing you should look at if you're driving up a hill or doing something super intense with your Tesla. I'll tell you that right now. All right, point 2, a couple anecdotal stories from 2 people I met at superchargers on my drive from San Francisco out to the Midwest here. I was in Twin Falls, Idaho last week, and I met a really cool guy. Let's see, Tesla wants me to turn left coming up here. Met a really cool guy who was charging his Tesla, and we, struck it up. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that supercharging is almost like smoking cigarettes on a street corner. You just get to meet random people and everyone just starts chatting, and it's super cool. And I was talking to this guy, and it turned out that he lived in the Twin Falls area. So I asked him, well, why are you supercharging if you live in the area? Don't you have charging at home? And he said that he did have charging at home, in fact. But he works way out in the field outside of town, and he can charge at his employer. They're really big into this whole electric clean energy thing, which was super cool for him and his company. And then he also does a lot of field business around the city. So he said that he just stops at the supercharger when he's out and about and just needs to top off, which seems super practical to me. And then I asked him, I was like, so you live out here in Idaho where, oops, here comes a big semi. It's about to come into the left lane. I asked him, so what is it like to live with a Tesla in really cold weather? Do you have any major range problems or anything? And he said, well, absolutely, battery capacity goes down. You have to warm, the colder the weather, you have to warm the interior of the car that much more. The colder the weather, the battery has to be warmed up that much more. The colder the weather, the more friction you get with snow and ice, and more traction control has to kick in and all the rest of it. So he definitely noticed a reduction in battery range. And I think that's pretty well known. In his case, he said that based on the advertised range of his Tesla, the reduction ranges from 30% to 50% down. And I've spoken with some other Tesla owners in the area here, and they're saying that's about a fair range. So let's just say your car were rated at 300 miles. As it gets really wintry and really cold, you're looking at lobbing off up to 150 miles off of that battery capacity. So keep that in mind. I haven't spoken to anyone who said that it got less than that, but certainly between that 30% and 50% down. So just like your phone, make sure you plug it in at night, make sure you keep it charged, and as everyone's telling me, make sure that you set that expected departure time, because that'll really help condition the battery and prime it for some distance driving. Topic number 3, traction control, and how well do these Teslas handle in the snow? In 1 mile, take an exit. All right, listening to you, Tesla. I'm gonna get off this little lakeshore road in 1 mile. Yesterday, well, a couple days ago actually, I was in North Dakota at the Dickinson charger, and as I got out of my car, I noticed a Tesla Model 3 E100D parked next to me, and it wasn't charging. And as soon as I got out, this tall gentleman steps out of his car and he says, "Welcome to North Dakota." And I was like, well, thank you. It's great to be here. And we struck up a conversation, and it turned out that he was a member, I think it's called the North Dakota Tesla Owners Association. And they are a group of avid Tesla owners. They all get together. They help each other out, share garages, share charging, share pro tips and everything. It seemed like a really awesome organization. And then what he does is he drives up and down the highway, apparently, along with a number of the other members, and they put antifreeze washer fluid. Let me see where I get off here. I gotta get off right here. They put antifreeze washer fluid at the Tesla supercharger sites so drivers can have great fluid that will last through the winter, and they can clean their windshields. It was super awesome. Like, this guy was really cool. He apparently drag races his Tesla. Let's see, I go straight. He drag races his Tesla, blows the doors off of everyone. Road and Track lists that car at like the fastest four-door sedan that you can own. So super cool guy. And I asked him, I was like, so you live out here in North Dakota, how is traction control on the snow and ice? Like, I had barely only experienced any of that when I was in Montana, where I drove into some of the snow in West Yellowstone, and it handled pretty well, although it slid a little bit. I mean, these cars are not above the laws of physics. And he said in his Model 3 that he keeps up with virtually every SUV in the entire state, and people are shocked by it. These cars are heavier than a regular car because of the battery pack. And he said that the traction control technology is so sophisticated that he just plugs through all the snow. He drives over all the ice, and he never has any trouble. So I'm going to be really eager to see if I have that same experience. And then I asked him, well, what about the Model Y? I mean, it's a smaller car. I would imagine it's less luxurious and has less of the bells and whistles and probably less of the technology. He said, as far as he understood, it had more or less the same traction control technology, and that the Model Ys are supposed to handle superbly in snow and ice as well. So I'm getting pretty excited. I actually want it to snow. I actually want the weather to turn really terrible here, because I want to have the opportunity to drive on it. So let me know in the comments below, as the rest of you go into wintertime, how is your driving experience? How is the ice handling in your car? All of us would love to find out. Oops, I missed my turn. I did that last night too. So I'm gonna flip a U-turn here and then turn right, heading back to my hotel. Now, topic number 4, and this is something that everyone seems to be pretty interested in, so I'm going to share some with you. I'm going to share with you some screenshots of the efficiency ratings that I was getting out of my car this morning once I got supercharged, once the battery warmed up, and I was on Highway 61, which is a relatively flat highway. Temperature, I think, was 30 degrees, maybe 32, no real headwinds. So this would just be, I suppose, kind of an off-the-shelf average winter day in large parts of the country. So I'm going to share with you the 3 screenshots now. We're going to start with the averages based on 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and 5 minutes. So let's take a look at the 30-minute average. Next up, the 15-minute average. And now, the 5-minute average. So as you saw in the screenshots, the 30-mile average was 339 watt-hours per mile. The 15-mile average was 313 watt-hours per mile. And then the 5-mile average was 277 watt-hours per mile. So today's conditions were, I was driving probably 5 to 10 miles per hour slower than the previous video. Temperature was probably 6 degrees warmer, very little wind, and the roads were probably flatter. So the efficiency today was certainly better than my previous video, but that's kind of to be expected. But you can take the numbers from the previous video, you can take the numbers from today's video, and you can start seeing some trends, and you can start seeing some scenarios that I've been driving in. And if you're looking to get a Tesla this winter, or to get a Tesla next winter, as I produce these videos, as the weather gets worse, as it gets colder, as it gets windier, I'm going to be out driving in it, and I'll be producing more videos so you can all see what this Tesla Model Y is getting, and you can start thinking about how much you should charge, or what kind of range you're going to get out of your battery, or whether or not you should tell the vehicle its expected departure time, or whether that matters, or what your scenario is. But my goal here is going to be to produce as many videos as I can that's going to help you know how your experience is going to be, and so that you can plan and decide whether or not an electric vehicle is right for you, and I think it is, and which type of electric vehicle you should get. I'm going to tell you should get a Tesla. I'm biased, I'm not going to lie. But I would love to hear from all of you in the comments below. What kind of ratings are you getting? And also even during summer weather too. I think that'll be interesting to learn because in many ways, summer is the exact opposite of winter, but still super intense. The battery has to be maintained at a certain temperature. The interior of the car has to be cooled down, and that puts a bit of a drag on the battery. So let me know what your experiences are. Would love to hear your 30-mile, 15-mile, and 5-mile averages, and let's learn from each other. All right, thanks for coming along this ride today, and I'm about to get into my hotel. Stay out of trouble.